Hi everyone. Today we're making another fall wreath, and I've got the 14-inch wreath frame from the Dollar Tree, this beautiful ribbon from Craft Outlet. I end up not using that black and white one in the middle. I've got this gorgeous deco mesh, blue, orange, gray, and then I've got this beautiful sign that says falling leaves and pumpkins please. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually just taking the stickers off, and then I'm going to take that jute hanger off as well. Sorry, it's just a little messy around here, and I'm trying to work through everything. I should have cleaned up my work area before I started, but I didn't. I'm actually trying to get some cable mounts, and that's what I was initially going to use to attach the pipe cleaners to the sign. But then as I got to thinking while I was cutting the string off, I was like, well, this is the board is pretty thick, the sign, and so rather than use these cable mounts, I decided I was going to just go ahead and attach 4 pipe cleaners to the sign, 1 in each corner, just by stapling them. Now what I do is I take and fold it in half and find the center, and then I just take my staple gun and I just do 1 staple, but you could definitely do more if you want to, up to you. You could also take the time and put hot glue on it if you wanted, if you're afraid that it's going to come off. I'm not afraid of that. I'm pretty confident in it staying secure, so I just do 1 staple on each, and then I give it a few twists just to kind of make sure it stays in place. Now do it on all 4 corners, because this is a pretty good sized sign, as you can tell, compared to the wreath frame. I want to say it's either 10 or 12 inches, and the wreath frame is 14. So even when the deco mesh is put on there, it's going to be a very sizable sign on there, and you'll be able to see it here at just a little bit. So then I just take my 14-inch frame that I got from Dollar Tree, and I go ahead and I start making my work wreath. Now I prefer to make my own work wreaths versus buying them, because you're spending maybe $1.50. So these are the brackets on the side, and in between them with the 4 rings that makes 1 section, and in the inner 2 rings I place 1 pipe cleaner in the middle. I give it a few good twists, and then the outer 2 I will actually place 2 pipe cleaners on there, give them a few good twists. Now as you see, I laid the single pipe cleaner going upwards, and then I will lay the 2 on the bottom going downwards, and this is to help me find them, because I can be a mess sometimes when I'm attaching my deco mesh. I'll try to find the pipe cleaners, and I just can't find them, especially when you have more and more of the mesh that's on there and it covers the pipe cleaners up. So this just helps me. Just a little tip for you guys if you're new to making wreaths. So here is this gorgeous deco mesh, and most everything I got was from Craft Outlet. I am cutting it at 30 inches. I'm gonna cut between the 2 rolls. I'm gonna cut a total of 18 at 30 inches, and then so here I just take 1 end and I roll it up about 3 times. Find me a little clip, chip clip, clothespin, whatever you want, and then I take and roll up the bottom 3 times And then it's kind of hard to tell because this is the end of the roll, so it's rolling up on itself. I'll walk my fingers up the middle, and then once I do that, I just scrunch it up in the middle. And I like to keep it on my workbench and scrunch it up like that because it helps me make sure that I keep it in the middle. And then I'm just going to show you a couple more times. So I'll roll it up 3 times, clip it, turn it around. I've got a mess over here, guys. And then I roll it up another 3 times, walk my fingers up the middle. And then right there where they're buttered up next to each other, I walk it together some more. And that's where I actually get it to make sure it's in the middle. I'm real OCD when it comes to making my wreath. I like to make sure everything is in the middle with the ribbons and the deco mesh. If not, it'll drive me crazy. And I'll have to redo it. But that way, if I put it in the pipe cleaner in the middle, when it all folds up together, because you'll see how close they bunch up together when all the deco mesh is there, you don't have some of the deco mesh sticking up higher in some spots because it's not positioned evenly in the pipe cleaner. And that's really why I am so OCD about it. Now this deco mesh is a little bit it's not as pliable to work with, and that's okay. It was still pretty easy to work with. It was a thicker mesh, but I saw the colors and I just loved it, along with the sign and the ribbon, because it's got some of the traditional like orange, gold, cream color in it, but that blue is a non-traditional color, and it just really stood out to me with all the colors together. So I've got all of my 30-inch cruffles added, and then here's my 10-inch curls that I'm adding. As you can see, my curl is pretty big. I don't like to do really tight curls. I like to do the loose curls to give it just a nice full look. There's several other wreathers that do really tight curls, but it really just depends on how you want your curl to come out at the end. So once I roll it up on itself, then I pinch it in the middle, and then as I place it into just on top, I don't undo the pipe cleaner. As I place it into the pipe cleaner, I make sure the seam side is actually facing towards the pipe cleaner. Now this mesh had just a tiny bit of fraying, but it wasn't bad, not at all. I think I may have taken like 3 or 4 pieces off 2 rolls, so it was really nice. I do recommend this. So I have a 1-inch faux burlap wired ribbon that I just cut this. I cut it at an angle, and then the pumpkin 2.5-inch ribbon that I cut in dovetails. And then I'm just showing you here what I like to do is I fold them in half, and then once I find the half point, then I kind of offset them in a crisscross shape. Not too big of a crisscross shape, but just offset just a little bit. And then I pinch it in the middle, kind of like you do with the deco mesh, and I just place it right on top. Now as I'm doing my wreaths, I never open up my pipe cleaners. I always just put everything right on top, and it works out just fine. So here I'm just going to show you a couple more times. So once I find the middle part and walk my fingers up and pinch it in the middle, then I actually curl the ribbon with my hand because I like that curl look to it. And see, I do make sure that my ribbons have curls. You just saw me go back there and do that. You don't have to have the curls in it if you don't want to. I would think that if you didn't want to have the curls in it, you could definitely cut them at 13 inches and then just leave them straight. But I like the extra curl. So that's what one section looks like with the ribbon on it. Now, I do have some little faux pumpkins, and they have like this little sweater texture on it. And are they not the cutest? I thought the colors matched perfectly with this wreath. And the little clips on the back make it really nice and easy to work with. So what I'm doing there is just actually folding down the pipe cleaner, making it a little more sturdy, and then I clip the pumpkin to it. Now, because I didn't have enough of the pumpkins, what I did is I just went every other pipe cleaner and put a pumpkin on there. So I went with the blue, then I skipped one, and then the next one I actually did with an orange. And I'm trying to show you here. I could not really get you guys a good angle, but I was trying to show you. That's what all this crazy movement is. But you can kind of see the blue and the orange right there at the bottom right. So now I've got all my ribbon in, and I'm going to take my sign and I'm going to attach it to my wreath frame. What I am going to do is I'm just going through in between the deco mesh and finding some great areas to anchor my sign on. And then I go on the back and I give it a few good twists. Now, I'll either tuck the pipe cleaner into the wreath frame or cut them off. It doesn't really matter. They will be cleaned up. So see the buffalo check on the around the sign. That's why I originally was going to use that black and white ribbon, but I decided against it because I actually had some blue, like an all blue ribbon that was left over from a wreath I made, and then I had some plaid orange and white ribbon as well, and so I opted to use those two in the bow that you'll see me making here in just a minute. So plans are always subject to change, but when I do buy my wreath supplies for my wreaths, I do try to set a kit, if you will, and say this is what I need for this wreath. This is all the supplies that's going to go with this wreath. And it works out most of the time, but this one, I don't know, something just changed my mind about the black and white. I decided I didn't really want the black and white in the wreath. So here I am taking the last couple of the pumpkins and adding them to the side of the wreath. The side of the sign. The sign was so high up on the wreath that I couldn't put a pumpkin up there at the top. So I just put them on the sides, which works out just fine. I just absolutely love the blue and the blue pumpkins. I just cannot get enough of it, guys. So here I'm taking the excess pipe cleaner off of these two areas, and I'm trimming those, and then I'm going to tuck the pipe cleaners down. The reason I didn't put ribbon there is because I'm going to make one fairly large bow, and I'm going to place it right there at the bottom. So I'm going to use my deluxe bow maker, easy bow maker, excuse me, and I'm going to Start off with my 2.5-inch ribbon, and I'm going to make an 8-inch tail. And then I'm going to make 2 6-inch loops on both, one on each side. And then I'm going to make a 14-inch tail. I'm just scooting my bow maker over to a good starting point so I can find a 14-inch mark. So the 14-inch tails are always going to go at the bottom, and the 8-inch tails are going to go up at the top. I chose to do 8-inch tails because if I need to cut them down, then they'll still be long enough. So as you saw, I started the first ribbon with the 8-inch tail going up. So now I'm starting the second ribbon with the 14-inch tail going down, and then I'll just alternate going back and forth doing that with those. And then here I am making my 8-inch tail and moving it to the top. And I kept both of the 2.5-inch ribbon at the same size on the loops. So here with this 1.5-inch ribbon, I'm actually going to reduce the size of my loops about 1/2 inch. And so you'll see with the plaid, the buffalo, or the gingham orange and white ribbon, you'll see me do, they'll be the same size as the brown. Now the blue ribbon did come from Craft Outlet, and this gingham ribbon came from Hobby Lobby a couple years ago. You could definitely stop here if you wanted to, but my thoughts on this was go big or go home. So I wanted a really nice size full bow on here, so I'm just going to actually do another set. So every 2 ribbons I'm going to go down another 1/2. So I started at 6, then I went to 5.5, and now I'm doing the next 2 at 5, and then the last 2 will be at 4.5. So how many of y'all love fall? Fall is my favorite season. It's just so, something about it is just so calm and relaxing. The temperature is just right. Now I live in the south. I don't live in the north, so I don't have all that freezing temperature early. It's nice to have like 70, 60 degree weather, because I live in Texas, so the temperature is really nice. And I don't really like to be out. I don't like it when it's real sunny outside. I like it when it's a little dark and rainy. At least I'm not squinting and the sun's hurting my eyes. But yes, fall is by far my favorite season. So I think this bow is really taking shape. And what I'm going to actually do with my last bow, I'm going to do 2 loops, and then I'll do 1 extra loop for the center. Now I do always make sure that every ribbon I use is wired ribbon, because it helps keep its shape a whole lot better, and it's a lot easier to work with. So this is a pretty thick bow. Some of the ribbon is thick, so I was originally going to do just 1 pipe cleaner, and then I thought, well, maybe it's not going to attach very well. So what I do is take 2 irregular size pipe cleaners, and I just twist them together to make them longer. Now, I think these are 12 inches, but I do believe, I know Deco Exchange has like 20-inch pipe cleaners. So if you want longer pipe cleaners, you can always go there. I'm not sure if anywhere else sells it, but I know Deco Exchange does. So here I'm just taking my fingers and putting them tight, pinching the pipe cleaners and having them tight up against the ribbon, and then I just twist the ribbon. It saves on my hands and my fingers, and it gets it really tight up against the ribbon. So you don't have to do this right now, but I thought it would be a lot easier to just trim my ends. Now, the bottom of the wreath, the bottom of the bow is okay. I typically will keep them at the 14 inches, but here you see me cutting these, dovetailing them, cutting them at a slant. But you'll also see that when it gets on the wreath, that I'll end up doing a little more trimming on the short tails at the top. And that's mainly because I don't want the tails to cover up the sign, and so I trim it a little bit shorter. Well, I hope you guys have really been enjoying the video so far. I'd really like to hear from you. If you just leave a comment below and tell me what you think, or if there's a particular kind of wreath that you would like for me to show how to make, let me know, and I can definitely make sure we get that as one of the videos. So here I'm just attaching in between some of the deco mesh. And again, I attach it just like I do the sign. I typically will attach it to 2 of the rings, not just 1. I find that it gives it a better hold for me, in my opinion. And now comes the fluffing of the bow. And I'm just trying to make sure that all of the tails are at the bottom. Sorry that it's out of frame. And then I go to this, I always start on one side and start alternating the loops on the bow, and then the tails as well. And then once I do one, then I'll go back and I will do the other side. Now I'm already looking here and I'm seeing that some of the ribbon tails are too long, so I already know that I'm going to go back and cut them. And then here I am just doing the same. I'm trying to do it the opposite of what I did on the other side, but I couldn't remember. That's why I was struggling a little bit there. But I'm just fluffing out all my loops and tails and trying to make it look so pretty. My favorite part. I really like how all the colors from the ribbon and the sign, everything just seemed to come together perfectly, and I love this wreath. If you're interested, it is on my Etsy, in my Etsy shop at Jeter's Blessings. I want to thank you guys for spending a little bit of your time today with me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that you guys all have a very blessed week. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye.